Welcome back to Clicks and Coffee. And today I'm excited to introduce Casey Allen, the head of product and co-founder of Seniorlytics, an innovative analytics platform tailored for the senior living industry. With a rich background in healthcare SaaS, Casey has successfully overhauled and scaled enterprise analytics platform for over 1,000 healthcare clients. His previous roles include principal product manager at Waystar, director of product for revenue cycle at Zermed, and senior manager of product engineering at Method Care. I'm eager to delve into Casey's journey, the inception of Seniorlytics, and his insights into leveraging analytics to enhance senior living operation. Casey, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. Thanks for having me.
So everybody talks about data, technology, and everything. So can you tell us a little bit about how the idea of Seniorlytics came about? And kind of surprised that there were no other solutions before, or maybe bad solution. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, for sure. So Seniorlytics came about. There are three co-founders, myself included, and one of our co-founders, our CEO, kind of came to me back in like 2020, like late 2022 and 23, with an idea that was like, he'd been talking with some senior living community operators, and they all kind of were expressing this pain point around having all these different systems and working out spreadsheets constantly and not having, any data or any actionable data at their fingertips. And so we talked about it. I had just finished, as you mentioned, in the healthcare space, building an analytics platform, and basically bringing together a bunch of data into one platform, and making it readable and actionable. And so we thought there was an opportunity to do that in the senior living space, and we had a potential pilot client. So then it was kind of off to the races after that. So we started building and have kind of started with our pilot client and grown it into more clients and more communities since then. So,
no, that's super exciting. And so now that you've kind of entrenched yourself in the senior living space, what are you seeing? What are you seeing changing, and what are you seeing, like, what are the big issues that senior living communities have in terms of operations?
Yeah, so to answer the first part of that question about what's changing, there's a big kind of shift now. So senior living as an industry got hit pretty hard by COVID, as most did, but senior living kind of very acutely, just given the sensitivity to an age population for a pandemic. And so occupancy rates for across the board in the US kind of took a huge dip, and they've just started to kind of get back to pre-COVID levels. So communities are just now kind of climbing out of that hole that was COVID. And so now there's a lot more optimism, there's a lot more development, and we also have an aging population of baby boomers who are just now starting to turn 80 this year. So you have that population, and that's about the time that they go into assisted living or and above, memory care. And so we're going to have a lot more of the population kind of moving into senior care. And on top of that, we're just the industry as a whole is just starting to kind of catch up to having lost 4 years of operations. And so now we're in this. The industry is in a different scenario where it's now there's not enough supply and there's too much demand, and so they're trying to figure out how to balance that and how to catch up. So that's what we're seeing in the industry, and that's kind of what the industry looks like. In terms of what pain points the industry is having and how we help solve them, So we service two customers. We have our senior living management companies who are operators, who we call operators, and then we have the owners. So you can think of them as the operators of the community, and then the owners of the underlying asset or the building and the land. And so the owners and the operators they look at the same thing, but they have kind of different problems and challenges that we help them solve uniquely. And so for the management company, it's giving them top to bottom analytics that help drive their business. So giving them data at a strategic level. For instance, how do all of my 10 communities compare against each other across key KPIs or within geographies or within care types versus at the department level, food and dining is a big area of focus for almost every senior living facility from a cost perspective. And so giving them data to drive departmental level decisions as well. So, like what's my daily labor look like? What does my food PRD look like? At a very granular level. So giving them those, easily at hand, kind of all of those data points to make a decision, kind of top to bottom, and bringing all of their systems. Every operator has a technology stack that's at least 4 to 5 systems deep. And so that means all of their data is, siloed and segmented across 4 or 5 systems, plus spreadsheets and, just disseminated throughout the organization. And so we bring all of that together so that they can have one cohesive view into kind of everything operational data from a data perspective. And then on the owner side, we give them a similar kind of strategic view where we show them all of their portfolio, just the performance of their portfolio of assets across a bunch of different operators. Because if, for instance, a fund who may have 20 different communities, they may have 5 different operators, 5 different management companies operating those different communities. And so they need a clean way to view all of those communities and kind of make an apples to apples comparison, regardless of who's operating the community and regardless of what technology stack they have. So in the olden days, we like to say we kind of bring people out of spreadsheets. There's a lot of spreadsheets at the operator side, and there's a lot of spreadsheets on the fund side. And so we help them kind of eliminate that work and eliminate a lot of the grunt work of going and getting the data.
That's great. And so how did you see, I would say, operation changing once people start using Seniorlytics? I'm sure that they can realize, oh my God, we're spending way too much in that part of thing, or I didn't realize that this was that. Like, what are the biggest, I would say, shift you're seeing, or the biggest shift that you're seeing when people start using such a good analytics platform?
Yeah, we consider ourselves analytics as a service very intentionally versus just SaaS. And the reason for that is SaaS has kind of gotten a bad annotation around like just being drop-off software, which can lead to a lot of just non-adoption, non-use, misuse. And so when we go into a customer, whether it's an operator or an owner, we do a lot of kind of consultative implementation where we sit down with them and say like, hey, where are your pain points and where do you want to start and where can we help you start kind of driving value. And so almost always across the board for operators, it's, getting a deeper picture into labor and understanding their labor spend, whether it's, OT as a percent of total hours worked, or meal break, anything along those lines to help them control their labor costs, which is kind of one of their biggest costs outside of food. And then the second being kind of food and dining related. And so we help there. And then because there's some of the things that we help uncover that they may not know be an issue, they may not know they have an issue with, is sometimes they'll have a discrepancy between care levels and actual care revenue. And so, that can look like a resident is getting the equivalent of care level 3 as a resident, but they're only billing for care level 1, and so the difference there is quite a bit from a dollar perspective. And so we help them kind of reconcile those two things, because those two data points are in kind of two different systems in some cases. And so we help shine a light on stuff like that. And so, yeah, we've helped. Like I said, we've seen a lot of we've had a lot of positive feedback from our clients around, like, oh, we didn't realize, we knew we had a labor issue, but we didn't realize it was this bad. Or now we know, it's isolated in this department, kind of with this team, and we just need to go, do some coaching and some managing there. So yes, we definitely play a very consultative role with our clients to kind of help them find the problem, and then equip them to be able to solve it.
So yeah, so the big difference I would say with any other platform or any other software is that you put it, you install it and make sure that it works, and not just like, hey guys, here is the monthly fee, and then figure it out.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think that's kind of a scenario that's bad for everybody, in that transaction. And so, yeah, so we're deliberately taking a different approach. And there have been, we've talked with a lot of vendors now, or a lot of operators in the space, and there's, some of them definitely have bad taste in their mouth, and they're like, oh, well, you guys are just SaaS, or we've kind of seen this before, and we have to kind of tell them that, like, oh no, like, we're different. We're actually gonna, what we commit to, we're gonna do, and we're gonna be high touch, and we're gonna work with you and be an extension of your team. And so once we get over kind of the sales goal line, and they become a client, they're like, oh wow, like, this is great. So it's been, the feedback has been great from clients with that approach. So I think we're going to lean into it.
Yeah, that's exciting, and it seems like your system allows to shine light on every dark corners of operations in senior living. So no, that's exciting. And do you have a like a cool story to tell us about how one operator or one owner, thanks to Seniorlytics, discovered something important, I would say, about their community?
Yeah, for sure. There's a few, and I kind of touched on them a little bit. Yeah, we had one operator who had a discrepancy in kind of what a resident's care level was set to, which is in system over here. So let's just call that system A. And then in system B is where all of their financials live. So where they were billing, where they were kind of, sending bills to patient or to residents and residents' families. And so, there, we created, they came to us with this idea, like, okay, we think there might be a problem at this community, and there might be a discrepancy here. Can you help us, figure that out? And so we created a unique dashboard for them, that we call, like, the level of care revenue dashboard, and basically kind of tied those two systems data together to find those discrepancies and shine a light on those. And so in addition to but that's what we would call kind of like revenue leakage, and then on top of that, we also found and kind of shined a light on areas where they weren't doing assessments for certain residents. And so some states require assessments, so you have to do them if your facility is in that state, and you have to do them in kind of a certain format, or otherwise you just should be doing them kind of on a cadence. And so to make sure that you're assessing the resident for their current care level and determining whether they need to be increased in care level or not. So it helps you just kind of, match the level of care you're actually giving and billing to the resident to kind of what you're doing, what the care coordinators and nurses are doing kind of day to day with the resident. And so we help them we helped them kind of identify that, and then at that facility they went and fixed it. And then, since we have all the data for all their facilities, we just, they immediately just were like, okay, now let's go look at the next worst offender. And so they went through their whole organization, 20 plus communities, and recouped like at least six figures in kind of revenue leakage. And so,
Wow.
yeah, so
That's a pretty good
it
that's
was
a pretty good
significant.
story. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then, we have similar stories kind of on the labor side, just around like, being able to control labor and kind of reduce overtime, reduce agency spend, which is another big kind of challenge that communities have, just controlling their agency spend and controlling the amount of hours their agencies are billing them for. So yeah.
That's great. And then because we know at the end of the day, the main mission, I would say, is to have the best care
Mhm.
possible. So, freeing up some cash allows you to really reinvest and then keep the community thriving. I was discussing on another podcast, um, where, you know we anticipate in the future, and I know that there are some companies already working on that, but like AI cameras that would allow you to monitor,
Mhm.
for example, like the common room, and really follow each resident,
Yep.
and kind of know, hey, this person didn't drink for like 30 minutes, or didn't drink
Yep.
for like 2 hours or 4 hours or whatever. It might be dehydrated. You should look at this person hasn't moved in like 30 minutes. Like, can you check on them, and kind of like help all of this to make sure that all of these people moving to senior living, it's not already like a difficult, I would say, decision in a lot of the times. So
Yeah.
knowing that we have this technology, first of all, like yours, where you know any operator really knows what's happening in their community, and then some other one that really help managing, I would say, the residents, is it's going to be a big change in, and really for the better. So I'm super excited to interview people like you that truly help in all aspects of the senior living. So it's a really interesting. There was another lady. It's actually a client of the agency, and she has a company called Mobius MD. And the
Mm.
idea is to record. So for now it's for doctors, but I'm thinking they could do it for nurses as well. But he records and transcribe the patient doctor meeting, because a lot of the time they have to go to their EMR, the medical
Yep.
recording system, and then um, and they have to report, what happened, the questions, any medication, anything. This system basically, just by talking, can transcribe everything, and set up everything, and upload everything into the system. So imagine same thing for nurses, and we know that there is, people changing and everything, but that way everything is recorded. Anybody that
Mhm.
comes, they have the full report, the full transcription, AI summaries,
Yep.
and it's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
No, it's very cool. And I've seen, yeah, likewise, I've been excited to see more on the resident kind of satisfaction and in care side, just new technology. Seems to me that there's definitely a big investment on that side, which I love to see as my parents start to age and kind of get to that point where, they're going to be making that decision in a few years. Me as a part of that family, and wanting to, check in and make sure they're doing well, and yeah, they're taking their medication, they're going to meals, they're going to activities, and they're just generally, their quality of life is good and improving. So
No,
yeah,
it's
I'm excited
exciting.
to see all the progress.
And with all of this, I would say, technology, and really professionalization of care, do you see in the future people, staying more at home and then getting home care, or more moving to communities in the future? Like, what are your, I would say, um, view on that?
Yeah, it's a good question. There's certainly, I think everybody's asking that question right now, just given the current census kind of shift, as baby boomers start to the peak of baby boomers start to hit the that peak age of 80 and 85 plus, where they're going to need more assisted. And so they're either considering home care, kind of aging in place, or going to a community or facility that can provide them kind of a higher level of care. I think a lot of the factors come down to cost.
Mm.
Being able to age in place if you can afford it certainly has its appeals. But not everybody can afford it, and it can be pretty costly for individuals. And so and then there's you kind of lack also the community aspect of being in a senior community and senior care facility where there's others of your age group around. There's an activities coordinator, there's a life enrichment program. And so there's all these other things that kind of help keep you well and keep you improve your quality of life that you may not get by aging in place and aging at home. And so yeah, I don't know the answer because I'm not that age, but yet
Oh, you don't
getting there
ask yourself
quickly.
those questions yet.
Yeah, not yet. But I will say, working with some of the operators we work with, they run some very amazing communities and with amenities that I didn't even know existed. And so it's very cool. And even some of the dining programs at some of the communities we work with are like very, very impressive. And so it's really cool to see. It also, we've also heard that more independent living is now a very big kind of space in the market as an aging product. And so and there's that comes along with kind of all of that community aspect and all that kind of having a sense of community and wellness programs and all the amenities you would have at a nice apartment. And so it's certainly appealing in a lot of ways.
Yeah, no, no, it's interesting, and I was asking this question because I had my neighbors actually, literally from across the street, that I've been knowing for, I don't know, since I moved in. And then all of a sudden they came to us and they're like, oh, we're moving out. We're moving to an independent living facility. And I was like,
Mm.
what? I was like, you guys, I see you guys always doing your yard. And yeah, I was like, yeah, we're done with that. Like, we don't
Yeah.
want to take care of it.
Yep.
We just want to be like free. And they moved into this independent living facility. And I went to visit them and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. They have like a little condo,
Yeah.
and downstairs they have restaurant, breakfast restaurant. They have medical staff on site if they need a pool, like a lake. And I was like, it's a very big community, like multiple buildings and everything. But
Yep.
I was so amazed how cool those new communities are. It was mind blowing, really. And you
Yeah.
had
It
different
is
type. You could
impressive.
live in a condo style, or you could live in like a garden style.
Hmm.
But they even had like little townhouses. So I was really blown away with what people are doing. And I believe that people are going to do more of those communities because they're going to, become more and more refined and more professional. And
Yeah.
I feel like better care at the end of the day.
Yeah. And I think the off balance of demand out balancing supply will pull more money into the market. And from the owners and developers we've talked to, the demographic moving in to senior care facilities, independent and above, they just want more amenities and they want nicer facilities, and so that's what they're building. And so I think that's what we'll see more and more of. And so yeah, it'll be good to see and it'll be interesting to watch.
No, super. And so, looking ahead, what are your goals for Seniorlytics, and how do you envision the platform evolving to meet, I would say, the changing needs and really the evolution of the senior living sector?
Yeah. So for us right now, it's just kind of heads down, just work. We're just doing, it's just heads down work with our clients to just make sure we're number one, kind of giving them everything they need. Because it's, as an operator, they're constantly putting out fires, and so we want to be right there next to them to hand them the fire hose. And so we're just constantly helping them. For owners and funds, it's constantly helping them uh, evaluate their portfolio, reshuffle it, and then help them kind of use that data to then make buying decisions, and data to help them with transactions. And so we're constantly adding more and more data feeds to the system, and to kind of our wheelhouse of what we can automate and bring into the platform. And so we'll just continue to evolve that. The tool will continue to evolve. We all have the team has a strong background in just automation and AI. And so having come from analytics, predictive analytics and AI, and kind of automation. And so between the three co-founders and the rest of the team. And so we're looking to just lean in heavily on our skill sets, and find areas within operators and owners, those two groups, where we can help them solve other problems. So we're experimenting with automation with one of our clients, to help them automate back office operations, using a combination of AI and automation to help them basically reduce the amount of work they have to do with just data entry. And so that's still a real job and a real task that takes up a lot of time for some of these organizations. And so we're helping them reduce the amount of FTE hours they have to have somebody sit in a chair and look over here and at the screen and type over here in the screen. So I think we're going to be continuing to kind of lean in heavily to see where we can apply our skill set in automation, to problems, specific problems at operators and owners.
So if an operator or an owner wants to get in touch with you, how do they find you?
Yeah. So you can email me at casey.allen@seniorlytics.com or info@seniorlytics.com. Or we have a form on our website, which is seniorlytics.com, where you can go and just shoot us an email, and we'd love to chat.
Perfect. So really, at the end of the day, what makes your company amazing is that it's not just another analytics platform. It's truly, I would say, not a life-changing, because that's a little that's a little excessive, but really a platform where you guys are there and make sure that everybody has the best visibility of their operations.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and we apply a consultative approach, kind of with every client, so that we're not just another software that they sign up for and forget about. So.
Exactly. Well, Casey, it was a pleasure having you on the podcast. I really wish you all the best, and that more and more people use your platform, so that way they can operate better and give better care to their residents.
No, thanks, Alex. It's great seeing you.